Good day, this is Mr. Dizon, and for today I'll be teaching you how to use t-test formula sa Excel. No? Okay. So technically, this is an introduction to inferential statistics. Okay. Now, in my previous video, uh, we've seen how to use descriptive statistical functions, especially mean, median, and mode. No? Also, I have described or discussed rather paano gamitin yung correlation and regression sa Excel. For today, more likely we proceed to inferential statistics. Now, technically, before going with t-test, dapat alamin natin ano yung inferential statistics. Now, inferential statistics, unlike with descriptive statistics, pag descriptive statistics kasi it looks into describing data. So, more likely dun tayo sa sample. However, in terms of inferential statistics, dito na papasok yung generalization. Now, in statistics, remember, we must recognize the fact that we could not get or gather the data from the whole population. Kaya kumukuha lang tayo ng sample. Now, in your inferential statistics, kumukuha tayo ng sample and therefore make generalizations about yung sample na yun. No? So, yun yung function natin sa inferential statistics. Madaming function sa inferential statistics. However, we'll be looking into some. Kakunti lang naman yung titignan natin. Now, there are a lot of tests pagdating sa inferential statistics. This would now include your t-test. So, yan code natin. So, madaming family yung t-test. We have analysis of variance or simply ANOVA. Tapos, we also have multivariate analysis of variance, MANOVA. Then, we have chi-square. Tapos, madami ding computation yun sa chi-square or x-squared. Then, we also have t-test, ANOVA, chi-square. Yan na muna. Okay. Now, for this video, I'll be focusing on t-test. Okay. Now, minsan kasi nakakalito yung t-test at ANOVA. Saan gagamitin yung t-test at ANOVA? We have to look into the nature or classifications of your variables. Now, one function of your t-test and together with your ANOVA is we do comparisons. Comparison and hypothesis testing. So, we do comparison and hypothesis testing. Okay. Now, sa t-test, remember the classifications of your variables. Now, pag t-test, tandaan natin, di ba, independent and dependent variable. So, may causality yan, cause and effect. Now, pag independent variable, ang classification ng ating variable should be categorical or two-group sample categorical. Two-group sample at dapat categorical siya. Oops. Categorical. Categorical. So, yan siya, no? Categorical. Usin natin yan. Two-group categorical. So, more likely, this would now be nominal or ordinal. Tanda natin na, yung dapat kabisado na natin yung classification ng variables natin. Kasi sa inferential statistics, you could not determine kung anong test yung gagamitin natin without identifying the nature, the classification, or the type of your variable. So, dito is nominal or ordinal. For your dependent variable, this is technically scale. So, in your scale, or simply, your continuous, no? So, tama ba yung spelling? Bahala na. Okay. So, technically scale or continuous. So, interval ratio, we also use ordinal for some instances. At lalo na when we do questionnaires in a Likert scale, pwede din siya, no? Okay. Now, some of you would question, ano tong two-group sample, no? When we group our variables in a categorical way. So, more likely, example nito would now be gender. Gender, okay. Paano papasok yung two-group sample? Male and female. Now, in your questionnaire, for instance, or sa tool, you want to know, does gender affects the average working hour or yung political belief nila? Or you want to presume that IQ has something to do with gender? So, yan yung gagamitin natin, no? Okay. Now, for instance, when we use the LGBTQ plus as our grouping variable, more than 2 na siya, ang gagamitin natin ay ANOVA. Pag t-test, 2 group lang siya. Or another example, unemployment. Unemployment, pwede din yan. Paano? Employment status. Rather, employment status. S na lang. So, dalawa lang yung status natin. unemployed, and employed. So nakikita natin yung how the variables were grouped according to two, or rather for instance employment, residence. Okay, especially kung dito ka sa Cordillera, you want to compare lowlanders from highlanders. Two group yan, kaya TTES ang gagamitin natin. So lowlanders and highlanders. Now for instance, paano kung ginamit natin dito is in terms of province. So more than 2 siya, kaya hindi TTES yung ginagamit natin. So ang gagamitin natin dyan is ANOVA. Now basic introduction sa ANOVA, basta more than 2. More than 2, tapos same din yung dependent variable niya, scale or continuous. So yan. So kunyari when we use gender in terms of LGBT, so more than 2 siya, ANOVA gagamitin natin. Residency in terms of province, or more likely province natin, pwede din yan. Or another instance would now be what else? Gender, province, your civil status. Diba? Pag in terms of civil status, we have single, married, double, or single, married, ano pa ba? Divorce, diba? Although Philippines walang divorce yet, separated, widow, ANOVA yung gagamitin natin dyan. And your dependent variable is now scale or continuous. So tanda natin na t-test 2 group independent variable, tapos yung dependent variable natin should be scale. Pag ANOVA, dapat more than 2 yung groupings natin. Okay, so daming alam. So yan yung ANOVA natin. Okay, now there are a lot of ways on how to use t-test, no? Although ang ipapakita ko lang is independent sample dito sa Excel. Bakit independent sample? Kasi siya yung most common. But para maintindihan natin, okay. Ang one sample t-test, we attempt to compare a sample from dito tayo. Yan. We attempt to compare a sample from a standard. So kunyari yung sample natin would now be from barangay A, community A. We will now compare it in terms of a population standard. More likely, this would now be a standard average, a standard threshold, average, or median, for instance. Kaya mga examples natin dito would now be, kunyari, the normal blood pressure is around 120 to 80. Some would say it's 90. So, kunyari, gusto nating i-measure yung systolic. So, more likely, 120. So, i-compare natin yung barangay A kung hypotension ba siya, low blood pressure, or or high blood pressure, no? Or for instance, we wanted to know threshold. So, provide ng NEDA, for instance, that the average poverty threshold, or rather, walang average, that the poverty threshold in the Philippines, ibig sabihin nun is, yun yung middle point. Kung lumagpas ka dun, hindi ka mako-consider na mahirap. So, more likely, yun, i-check natin yan through one sample t-test. So, more likely, hindi natin siya gagamitin. No? Although, nagagamit siya, lalo na when you are working with government, etc. Now, pag t-test dependent sample, tanda natin, yung groupings ng variable is grouped according to time. So, it has been influenced by time, and commonly before and after. So, you want ginagamit to lalo na sa medicine. So, t-test dependent sample. So, for instance, you want to know a medicine na magpapababa ng weight. So, yung weight ng ating respondents noon, i-compare natin after 2 weeks time, we will now compare yung weight nila before and after. Or, for instance, medicine. Lalo na pag medicine to. Or, for instance, we want to compare eras of presidencies. Although, pag president kasi, pwede din siya maging independent sample. Lagyan natin ng time frame. Kunyari, 2002 versus 2008. Yan. T-test dependent sample yan. Now, the third one, ito yung pinaka-common, or the common would now be t-test independent sample. Yung t-test independent sample, ito yung sinasabi ko, no? So, we're attempting 2 samples. We're comparing 2 samples. And we want to identify whether they are related, or the most common, the appropriate term is different nga ba sila. Kaya ang function ng t-test is comparison eh. Comparison. More likely comparison siya. So, yan yung gagamitin natin. So, t-test independent sample dito sa Excel. Now, I forgot to include, later you will encounter two-tailed t-test. Two-tailed t-test. Inuna ko yung two-tailed. And one-tailed t-test. T-test. Now, ano ibig sabihin nito, no? Okay. Now, kung naalala niyo yung distribution curve natin, normal curve or simply yung curve natin. Now, pag one-tailed t-test, iisa lang yung rejection area. So, kunyari yan, tapos imagine nyo may curve dyan. So, either dito siya or either dito. Now, ginagamit natin yung one-tailed t-test, for instance, if your hypothesis wanted to prove kung may greater value nga ba yung isang variable or lesser value. So, is it greater than? Is it lesser than? Higher or lower? Kaya for instance, you believe that gamitin natin yung for instance, hypothesis na sasabihin natin that males have higher IQ than females. Example lang naman, gagamitin natin dyan is one-tailed t-test. So, higher, nandito yung rejection area. Pag lower, nandito siya. Now, ginagamit natin yung two-tailed t-test. For instance, if we want to measure, for instance, kung may equal nga ba sila, if there's equality between two, equal nga ba yung dalawang variables, or commonly if there's differences, no? So, sa researches, although this is my own observation, karamihan dito, no, two-tailed siya. So, is there a difference? Is there, kunyari, gender performs equally yung dalawang groups na yan, or may just check na my notes kung effective nga ba yung isa compared sa isa, etc. Ganyan yan. Basta ganyan yung two-tailed natin. So, ano pa ba? Okay. Now, before going dito sa natin, sa data natin, always remember, although before that one, we must check yung data muna natin. Ayusin natin yung data natin. Ayan, basta ganyan yan. Okay. So, ito yung data natin. It was extracted from dun sa handouts na binigay ko. So, the table presents the average hours per week of full-time employees in terms of gender. Test if there is a difference. So, nandito yung instruction. So, galing siya kay Fulcher Scott. So, this is a journal article. Average hours of males and females in EU countries. So, from the table presented, we already have that assumption that we want to compare yung average working hours ng males and females. Kung sino nga ba yung mas madami na binevender na trabaho, or are they equal, no? So, technically, punta tayo sa basic descriptives. So, we measure on the mean. So, but not with mean alone na ma-measure natin, or we could now prove na may difference. Although nakikita natin dito sa mean na mas mataas yung males in terms of working hours compared with females. However, this is insufficient. Kaya gagamit tayo ng t-test to know whether or not na may difference yung males at females natin. Kaya this is insufficient. Now, first things first. Kung gagamit tayo ng software, kung hindi tayo papunta sa manual, maganda it's good na i-craft natin yung ating hypothesis testing. Now, in terms of inferential statistics, one habit na kailangan natin gawin is we must already craft yung ating hypothesis statements. Now, tanda natin yung HO and HA. Yung HO stands for null hypothesis, then your HA stands for your alternative hypothesis. Now, pag HO, technically, ang gusto nating malaman dito is more in a two-tailed scenario, is walang difference. Ano ibig sabihin nito, no? Ganda kasi kung may distribution curve tayo. Search na lang natin. Okay, in a distribution curve. Okay. Hanap tayo ng two-tailed. Or kunyari, ganyan na. Okay. Imagine na lang natin, no? So, nandito yung rejection. Okay. Pag null hypothesis, there's no significant difference. There's no significant difference. So, both two variables, groups pala, So male and females, dito nagfo-fall under yung p-value nila. Kaya ang tawag natin dito is accept HO. Accept HO. Na walang difference yung babae at lalaki or rather in terms of gender. Kaya nandito sila kaya similar. Now, HA, alternative hypothesis, mali yung ano natin dito, yung statement natin. Okay. There is a significant difference between. So may significant difference. Alternative hypothesis now dictates na may isang value or isang group na lumalabas sa ating distribution curve. So nandito siya sa rejection area. Kaya when you try to check, maganda kasi pag may blackboard nandito yung accept HO, reject HO. So both yung two groups na kino-compare natin, hindi nagfo-fall, either one group, hindi siya nagfo-fall dito. So lumalagpas siya. Kunyari pag one tail or pag two tail, lumalagpas siya dito. So ganun, no? So tanda natin although dapat mabigat yung discussion natin dito, simply pag HO, there is no significant difference. HA, there's a significant difference. Okay, now paano natin makakompute to? Okay. I have discussed on activating yung ating data analysis. For those who haven't checked yung early videos natin, go to your options, go to your add-ins, then dito sa add-ins, nandito sa bandang manage, so make sure you have click Excel add-ins, then go. Dapat naka-check yung analysis toolpack. Dito na pag chinek natin yan, lalabas lahat yung mga additional functions, mathematical functions, kaya hindi lang statistics, no? Ang lalabas dito. So click natin yung analysis toolpack, click OK. For instance, na-click nyo na OK, although na-activate ko na kasi dito. Then go to your data tab. Then with the following subtabs, hanapin nyo yung analysis, nandito yung data analysis. So nandito na din yung ibang functions from ANOVA, covariance, F-test, t-test. Okay. Now click t-test to sample assuming equal variance. Ito. Click open. Okay. So may lumabas na window. So click natin yung variables. Medyo organize yung data natin. Now, pwede naman hindi natin to i-click. However, wag natin i-click yung labels. Okay. Yung data natin naka-organize yan through columns. Kaya medyo inflexible, hindi flexible yung ating Excel. Unlike dun sa pinakita kong video natin sa descriptive statistics, naka-include dyan yung respondents. Dito is more likely a summary of your data. Kaya medyo mag-adjust tayo. Unlike with SPSS, napaka-flexible. Now, for instance, wag na natin problemahin yan. Okay. So, punta tayo dito. Na-click yung labels natin. So, unlike sa correlation, yung independent variable natin, naka-organize na siya. So, dito, naka-organize naman na siya according to your groupings ng independent variable natin. So, yung variable 1 natin is now yung first grouping, technically males. Oops, na-check ko yung label, kaya make sure na nasali yung males dun sa pag-select natin. Tapos, sensitive siya pag may hindi na-include or na-include natin yung blank space. Then, go to your variable 2. Pindutin naman natin yung part ng females. Now, yung function ng input natin, kino-compare niya na yung males at females according to your average working hours. Now, I forgot. Okay. Ang independent variable natin is gender. So, does gender cause, yun yung determinant, does gender cause the average working hours in EU countries? So, nandito yung average working hours natin. Daming alam. Okay. So, hypothesize mean difference, gagamitin lang natin siya pag one sample t-test. Then output range, saan lalabas yung findings? Make sure medyo sensitive siya. Click natin dyan. Okay. So click OK. May lalabas ng mga table. So yan na siya, no? Okay. So palakihin na lang natin. Na yung kagandahan ng t-test in Excel, papakita niyo yung mean. So na-validate natin. Even the variance. Now by the way, sa manual computation, hinahanap natin yung variance, kaya pinapakita niya din. Yung observation, how many respondents? So 15 for males, 15 for females. A total of 30 respondents. Full variance, hindi naman na siya hypothesis difference. Hypothesis difference, wala tayong dinagay dyan. Okay. Now, these are important concepts, no? Yung DF stands for degree of freedom. Ang ibig sabihin ng degree of freedom is technically n minus 1. Although some formulas, lalo na sa TTES yata, it's n minus 2. So, ilan respondents natin? 30 minus 2, that would now be 28. Wala tayong ifo-focus dyan. Ang kailangan natin tignan would now be your t-test, and we're using two-tailed, would now be your t-crit. Tapos itong p-value. Okay. Unahin muna natin yung t. At paano natin ma-interpret yung data. So, t-stat versus your t-crit. Okay, t-stat. Now, sa manual computation, may tinatawag tayong t-crit and t-tabulated may I rephrase it? T-critical value then t-tabulated value. Now, itong t-stat, ito yung exactly na kinocompute natin. So, hindi siya given. So, yung t-stat natin, ano na lang natin, is around 4.037. Now, paano natin siya ma-determine? We will now compare it with your t-critical value two-tailed. Kasi two-tailed, tayo, no? Okay. Now, paano to? Sorry. Paano to? Medyo hindi magulo. Okay. Now, yung t-stat natin, it's sort of like this. Greater than or lesser than. So, compare natin na yung dalawang value. At dito na pupunta tayo sa ating hypothesis testing. Okay. Pag mas malaki yung t-stat with your t-crit, HA. Okay, tama? HA. HA siya. So, we now reject your null hypothesis and accept your alternative hypothesis. Now, kung mas malaki yung t-crit compared with your t-stat, null hypothesis siya. So, i-accept natin yung null hypothesis, reject your alternative hypothesis. Now, may ginawa akong data dito kanina. Ayan, dito, sheet 2. Okay, tama. So, HO, ayan, ano nga natin? Copy na natin. Ayan, dito siya. HAHO, oops, medyo nagugulan ako. Ayan, tama. Yan. HA, so may difference, may significant difference. HO, may no significant difference. Kinapi ko lang to para hindi tayo malito. Although kahit HA and HO could now complete yung statement natin. Okay. So, compare natin yung t-stat then your t-crit. Okay. So, yung t-stat natin is 4.034. Okay. Round off na lang natin. Then your t-crit two-tailed is 2.05. Okay. Compare na natin siya. So, mas malaki yung t-stat natin. So, sulat natin dito, t-stat. Kasi there are two ways on how to analyze the data. Okay. With your t-stat and t-crit, is there a difference or is there no difference? So, more likely, there is a difference. So, we'll now accept your alternative hypothesis. So, ang generalization natin dyan is that there's a significant difference between your average working hours when grouped according to gender. So, in terms of gender, we're gonna provide that conclusion na mas madaming winevendor oras ang mga lalaki compared sa ating mga babae sa EU countries. Now, another way to analyze is in terms of your p-value. Okay. Sulat natin dito, p-value. So, p-value. Okay. Now, paano tong p-value? We're using two-tailed, so disregard natin to. Disregard natin tong p, one-tail. Disregard na din natin to. So, anong kulay nito? I prefer yan. Okay. So, p-value. So, yung p-value natin is sort of like this. Okay. Babalik tayo sa level of confidence or sa level of significance. Okay. Tanda natin yung 0.05 So, tanda natin yung 0.05. Okay. Now, if your value mas malaki yung 0.05, we accept now your alternative hypothesis. So, may difference yan. So, kung mas malaki siya compared with your p-value. Now, remember this one. Pag mas malaki yung p-value compared with your 0.05 alpha or level of significance, we now accept your null hypothesis. Therefore, rejecting your alternative hypothesis, so walang difference. Now, tanda natin na dapat pareho yung ating t-stat at p-value in terms of your hypothesis kung ano i-accept natin. So, p-value natin is around 0.000. Okay na yan. But for the sake, lagay natin yung 38. Now, by the way, sa SPSS, minsan scientific exponent yung lalabas. You just need to double click it. But regardless to say, punta muna tayo dito. Okay. Nabubulol na akong visit. Okay. So, ano mas malaki? Mas malaki yung ating level of confidence, yung alpha value natin. So, looking into this one, so mas malaki yung 0.5, so may difference. So, we accept your alternative hypothesis. And therefore, confirming that may difference talaga in terms of gender. So, advice ko din, tricky advice, or rather, tip, immediately check yung p-values natin. Kung two-tail siya or one-tail. Doon na natin immediately malalaman kung anong hypothesis yung i-accept natin. And what else? P-value, etc. I think that's it. So, yun. Then, provide your analysis. Okay? So, I think that's it. Nung gulo ng discussion ko, pwede na yan.